What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro. I'm here with my brother, my guy Shy. It is another episode of Breaking Philly, and we brought a friend, man. My guy Devin Jackson. I'm gonna say it off the top. I say it every time I have him on here. I mean it every single time I have him on here. One of the best covering the Philadelphia Eagles, hands down. A good friend of mine, been able to pick his brain over the years, so I figured what way better to get this going? You know, we're right around the corner from the season. We were just saying in the background. What better way to get this going than to have my guy Devin back on the show? So, Devin, how's it been, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. It's kind of reached that point of the off season where it's not a lot of football happening. We're kind of transitioning out of the summer workouts, spring workouts, whatever you want to call them, and starting to look ahead and see and see where are going to be the big storylines going in the training camp. So yeah, I'm excited to be here, excited to talk about the Eagles, and yeah, it feels like a little bit more of a relaxed time this part of the year now that the AJ Brown trade happened and
Oh my God.
looking forward to a new offensive scheme. So I feel like there's a little more, I won't say positivity, but there's a little bit more lightness in terms of, the feeling I feel like around the Eagles right now.
Yeah, and we
Thanks.
talked about it off. We talked about off stage and or offline, whatever you want to, whatever the kids calling it nowadays. But we talked about it earlier, and obviously, like you said, it's a lighter air. There's just less drama going on. I mean, let's just call it what it is. But you talked about a guy that I am very high on before we got on here, which is Cole Wiznowski. I think, and I hope I'm saying his name right. But I
Newski.
think that I think a lot of Eagles fans are asking the question, what's next at that safety position. So I wanted to ask you right off the top your thoughts on him and how you see him kind of fit in here because maybe he's the answer. What are your kind of thoughts and what did you see pre-draft on Cole?
Yeah, I liked Cole Wisniewski. He was a guy that started out at North Dakota State. Was teammates actually with Cole Payton, who the Eagles
Mhm.
drafted, I believe, in the fifth round as well. So some familiarity there. But yeah, so Cole Wisniewski, he was a guy that played quarterback in high school and transitioned to defense at North Dakota State. He's played both the linebacker and safety positions. So there's some versatility there, and the Eagles really like versatility in the Vic Fangio scheme. So yeah, I think tempering expectations is probably number one for him because it's going to take some time for him to one learn Vic Fangio's scheme and two, I think the Eagles feel comfortable, and they've talked about this over the course of the spring and summer workouts. They're going to have Cooper DeJean as safety and base, and probably Marcus Epps starting out at safety and nickel. So, and obviously the Eagles play primary out of nickel versus base defense. So, I think with Wisniewski, the idea of him is get him as a special teams player early in his career. I think, especially for late round players, that's usually the path for them to make the roster and to find a spot on the 53-man roster. But yeah, I think at the very least it provides depth in the safety room. You look at with the safety position right now for the Eagles, they certainly need depth and need guys developing in that role. Obviously, they're going to be relying a lot on what Drew Makuba can do in the second year after his rookie season prematurely ended by injury. But yeah, I think when we look at Wisniewski, I think you feel confident that you can eventually develop into maybe a borderline starter, rotational player, and not exactly the same path Reed Blankenship went in terms of him being undrafted and then finding himself in the starting spot. But I think the versatility and what they could do with him, maybe they put him on the field on third downs, along with Cooper DeJean, the kind of mix and match what they can do coverage wise, especially now that Cooper DeJean is kind of cross training at safety and nickel.
Bad, bad. Bad, bad. I like Cole Wisniewski. So I know you guys were talking on the defensive front, but I want to actually get your opinion on the offensive front. Because we said the air is kind of clear because A.J. Brown is out of the building now. A lot of us feel that way, right? So I want to ask you about kind of his replacement and a Makai Lemon, right? How do you think Makai Lemon is going to fare in this new offense, being though he's going to be getting a bigger number of A.J. Brown's actual snaps? I know they're going to spread it because Sean Mannion style offense, he likes to spread the ball. And people have a little bit of concerns about him because he's not as big. He's not really an indomitable force that A.J. Brown was. He's 5'11". So how do you feel he's going to do in this offense, especially when he's kind of not he's not in A.J. Brown's shadow, but he's going to be taking most of A.J. Brown's reps.
Yeah, I think that you're going to probably see him be utilized a little bit more in the quick game and short game, finding ways to get him the ball in space. I thought that's where you really thrived at in college, really making people miss after the catch, being able to take short passes and turn to big gains. And he played bigger than his size suggests in college. I don't think the size is going to be, a top issue per se when he's in NFL. Obviously, transitioning to the speed of the game and dealing with some of the physicality the NFL brings. I think he's going to have to adjust to that, and him missing some of the spring and summer workouts certainly could be a cause for concern. But I really look forward to see what he's doing in training camp, and everyone that knew him, at USC, that's known him throughout his life, and even the early returns from the Eagles suggest that he's a smart player. He's someone that knows how to get open, and I think that's kind of going to be the big selling point is that he's a really good route runner, and he's able to he understands that he's not going to be a burner in terms of speed wise, but he knows how to attack the blind spots of defensive backs and eat up cushion and be able to be strong at the catch point. I think all those things matter. Being able to find those soft spots in zone coverage and just have a knack for getting open. And even though he was a top target at USC this year, he still was finding ways to get open, and they knew the ball was going to him. They send brackets at him at times and at USC, and he still found ways to uncover. So yeah, I think you're going to see him. I think use both as an outside and inside receiver. I think they're going to be creative in the way that they use him. Maybe use him in some of those the motion game as well to get him kind of a running start and keep defenses a little bit off balance. And you just hope that he can turn into a guy that is reliable, a reliable third down weapon, someone that can create an explosive play for you or two after the catch and be a really solid second or third option for most of the season because obviously Devontae Smith is a top dog in this offense.
Yeah, looking forward to
Definitely.
seeing
And
it.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. I mean, you look at this kid. He feels like another Devontae Smith. He feels like a lot of the same attributes as far as being able to get open, win off the line, and just is a smart, savvy route runner and a great catcher. When you look at that, was it kind of even if AJ Brown was here, was it always kind of the plan, in your opinion, obviously, to get a guy like this to kind of fit into a Mannion scheme? Because I feel like this is just the perfect type of player to fit into a Mannion scheme. Do you think this was whether or not we would have let go of AJ, most likely the plan? I mean, at the end of the day, he's probably a top three guy on most people's draft board. Do you think that Howie would have taken him, whether this drama was going on with AJ Brown or not?
I think that's tough to say. I think they were going to draft the receiver no matter what. I don't know if they would have done it first round if AJ was still locked in with the Eagles and staying with the Eagles. But you had the feeling that they were going to upgrade the receiver room because you can only be top heavy for so long, and I think at some point you're going to need other capable playmakers and guys that can come in and make things happen. The wide receiver three spot has been kind of a rotating door, in the Sirianni era of different players that have fit the role differently, from Quez Watkins to Jahan Dotson, like they have been guys that just don't take up a large volume of the snaps. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, even with AJ Brown's, with him leaving, how often they go to those three and maybe four receiver sets versus what they did in the past. But yeah, I think it's hard to say would they draft Makai Lemon specifically if AJ Brown was still on the roster. I don't know. I mean, it's certainly a possibility, because the Eagles, regardless of if they see a need right now, they are always looking at needs, 2, 3 years from now, and eventually it was gonna, be a need. But yeah, I think it's hard to say for sure, but I do think it could have been a possibility just because, Howie, if he sees someone's falling and he saw, Makai Lemon falling, he's going to go up and get him, and I think that's just kind of what he is, that's just kind of the way that he approaches the draft.
Definitely,
Bad, bad.
definitely.
And then back to the draft, right? So I have I'm kind of on the sound on saying this. I love Eli Stowers. I love what Eli Stowers can do. I like how versatile he is. He got to work on blocking. We already know that. But I had kind of like a consensus kind of go out because at the time the Eagles we're still in need of a safety, right? At the time when we drafted him, um, Emmanuel McNeil Warren is there. I'm a down this hill. Emmanuel McNeil Warren was there, and the Eagles kind of passed on that and grabbed Eli Stowers. At this point in time, I'm glad that we got Eli Stowers. But do you think it would have been a better move for them to get Eli Stowers or Emmanuel McNeil Warren? One, because we already have Dallas Goddard on the roster for at least another year, and then two, because that safety spot is kind of lackluster compared to other years.
Yeah, this one was a tough one because I was watching I was watching, and I think I talked about it on draft night with one of my Inquirer Eagles beat writers that had me on after of why the Eagles may not have gone Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Yeah, McNeil Warren is one of my favorite players in the draft. I think he was inside my top 30, 35 players. I mean, he was ranked higher than Eli Stowers. So I think naturally you feel that you probably would have taken McNeil Warren there. Just based on I feel how highly I felt about the player, but I also think that the Eagles have made it clear that that second safety spot is not as valuable as maybe a second tight end spot. Maybe as valuable as a second corner spot. Because I do think they've had opportunities. Even outside of the draft, of signing a guy that you could pair with Drew Makuba with, and they have elected not to do so, and more so want to go the route of, kind of, I don't want to say patchworking it, but keeping their best players on the field versus taking them off, in certain and put them in different spots. So it felt like to me that was a move to say, all right, we feel comfortable that Cooper DeJean can cover that other safety spot in base coverages and kind of patchwork it with a veteran for now, and understanding that down the road they're going to have to kind of rearrange some things in the way that they may view the position, especially as they start to pay some of the defensive players in the coming years. So I think it's a hard one to kind of parse out because I feel like in a vacuum that Emmanuel McNeil Warren probably benefits you more right now versus Eli Stowers. But I do think when you're looking at the upside play and that Dallas Goddard obviously is in potentially his final year with the Eagles, tight end has been a spot that they really only pick feels like every 5, 6 years. I think that felt like a more of a priority to them, whereas they could get a safety hire next year or the year after. I think with tight end, you really have to pick the right one and then have the one that you see the vision with down the road because it takes 3 or 4 years for them to really hit. So yeah, I think in a vacuum, probably would have picked McNeil Warren, but I do think Stowers, in terms of the athleticism, what he brings from a receiving standpoint, and really emphasizing getting younger on offense and finding kind of those cost control, team contracts, knowing that they're going to have to pay some defensive stars in the coming years. I think it makes sense to kind of extend that life of what you see your team being in the next couple of years and continue to be a Super Bowl contender.
Now, I can't let you get out of here without asking about QB1. I have to, at least it's contractually obligated. We got to talk about Jalen Hurts. So I have to ask, in this new system, right? You have all these weapons. You have, it feels like a mindset of spreading the ball out. But what is Jalen Hurts' job? What is his barometer? Like, how should we measure success? I think that's the best way of saying it. How should we measure success for Jalen Hurts this year?
Efficiency. I think being efficient in the way he distributes the ball. I don't think we need to get caught up necessarily in what the numbers look like, what the touchdown numbers look like, and all those things. I think the efficiency in which when he gets the ball in his hands to how he's running this new style of offense, and I just think understanding when to take those shots, when to take those chances downfield, versus kind of staying within what the system is calling him for to do. And the way that I see and envision it is that they're trying to get more advantages in the way that they get their playmakers the ball. And I think it's gonna require obviously Jalen to throw a ball in the middle of the field and maybe some of those timing aspects and working off of play action and being able to throw on the move and be able to move the pocket a little bit. All the things that we haven't seen much in the offense prior to it. It felt more static, more drop back. More like you pick and choose where you're gonna try and take your advantage of your outside weapons. I think this is gonna emphasize a little bit more of efficiency in the way that they run their offense, efficiency in the way that he's able to distribute and the striking the balance of being aggressive downfield and being able to let your playmakers do the work for you. So I think this is a scheme trying to set him up and set the offense up to be balanced, to be a little bit more modern in its approach and multiple. And in the fact that it's not predictable, it's not you're not gonna know what's coming week to week, and it's finding that core set of plays. I think that they can make big plays on and be able to use their weapons in the right way and um, you know just really not feel top heavy. I think that that's the most important thing, and where you need to have a go ball, to your top stars to kind of bail you out a little bit on those third and longs because the running game isn't going. So I think efficiency is the word that I would use for Hertz.
Bad, bad. No, I agree. Gotta have him.
You have one more, Shy?
Oh, if you got time, absolutely, absolutely. So mine's just simple. Mine's just simple. So no, so no, not on statistics, but everybody on the field, defense, offense, old player, young player. Who's your breakout player of the season and why?
This is a good one. Trying to think. See, breakout player. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with Jalen Hunt. I think
Oh,
Hmm.
he's starting to break out a little bit already last year, and I think he led the team in sacks last year.
He did.
But I do think that it feels like he's starting to really turn the corner in understanding the physicality of the NFL. Pass rush plan, kind of being that reliable guy to go after and get the quarterback. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jalen Hunt. I'm just thinking of, you know, Jonathan Grenard. He's gonna be the top dog in that edge room coming in, and I think that's really gonna open up a lot more one-on-one opportunities for him and the rest of that defensive line. Grenard and Jalen Carter on the same side, pass rushing. You're going to have at least three set of eyes, toward that side of the field, and I think that's going to create a lot of one-on-one opportunities for Jalen Hunt, and he's shown that he can win one-on-one. The ability to drop into coverage. You obviously had that pick six against the Vikings. The ability to make run stops. I think defending the run is a spot area that he's gotten even better since he's entered the NFL, and I just really like the trajectory that he's on right now. And then you add, I wouldn't even call Jonathan Bernard like a true one. I think it's kind of a 1A, 1B situation with those two. I really think that Hunt can have a big season, and assuming Jalen Carter is back at full strength and full health, and some of that dominance that he had during that Super Bowl run. You still obviously have Nolan Smith on the roster and what he's able to do. A couple rotational guys and Arnold Ebiketie, and they just signed AJ Epinesa. I just think you're the Eagles not only I think not only want a Hunt breakout, they kind of need it too because you get two legit pass rushers coming off the edge, then that really makes that defense scary.
Yeah, yeah.
Love the answer, man. Love the answer.
Devin Jackson of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Before you give everybody these your socials, because they have to follow you. I mean, people are already asking in the chat. They definitely got to follow you. One of the best reads in the game. I'm telling you right now. I got to ask real quick, because I've seen some of your Inquirer buddies saying this. Do you think this could be a better defense than the 2024 defense was?
I mean, personnel wise, absolutely. You think about where each player was in 2024, and you think about like yeah, Milton Williams, not having him on this particular team certainly makes a difference. But I think the collection of talent, I feel like, especially in the edge room, I really feel that it's taken even a bigger step than it was, and Josh Sweat is a really strong player. And what he was able to do there and run is commendable. But Jonathan Grenard is younger and more explosive. You add him to the mix. You have Reek Woolen now at corner. Love Darius Slay, but he was getting up there in age, even in that Super Bowl run, and there were times that he did get beat deep. And the defense was kind of a bend don't break mentality. At points of that season. But yeah, I mean Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell just last year, all pros. And they were really good as rookies. They're even better now. I
Mhm.
think the only question mark you really have is at safety. CJ Gardner Johnson, Reed Blankenship safety duo. Probably, I mean, it's probably gonna be better than what the Eagles roll out with in week one. But I do think overall the where the strengths of the defense lie is really that front seven. Obviously, the yeah, I mean even the linebacking core like Nakobe Dean probably I think Nakobe Dean, Jahad Campbell discussion you could make a argument for either one in terms of the importance of that defense, and obviously Nakobe didn't even play in those last few games. But yeah, it's a good debate. I think when you think about, I think on paper you probably take the 2026 team,
Mhm.
just based on where the talent sits. But in terms of like the actual results, 2024 speaks for itself, and yeah, it's a hard debate. I think you can make a argument for either one. I think the 2014 obviously more seasoned, more experience for sure. But the 2016, I mean, the possibilities of what it could be, is exciting. And I think, really the safety position really to me is the only one that I have a big pause about.
Yeah, well, this is always my favorite time of the year when football comes around because I know I get to talk to my guy Devin. Always just a wealth of knowledge. Please tell them where they can follow you, where they can see your articles and all that good stuff, brother.
Yeah, you can follow me on X at real D underscore Jackson. All the work inquire.com under the Eagles section. I've done a couple film breakdowns this summer of what to kind of expect from some of the new additions, from Makai Lemon to Jonathan Grenard to Eli Stowers and Dontavian Wicks, who we didn't really get a chance to talk about here. But yeah, you can follow
So
that
many.
on inquire.com under the Eagles section. And yeah, always happy to come on and talk, talk some Eagles.
Hey,
Definitely.
much
Well, we're
appreciated.
gonna hold you to that. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Like you said, we missed so many things, but we're sure to have you on very soon again, Devin. We appreciate you.
Thanks, man. I
Absolutely. Thanks for
appreciate you.
having me on.
I'd like to give everybody their
For peace
flowers,
out.
man. Thank you for your expertise, your time, and
Ooh,
everything else.
my bad. That was my fault. I
It's all
zoomed
good.
out a little bit too early. We love you, Devin. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
I was like, what is
uh,
that?
there you go. Hold on. There we go. We're back. That was my fault.
Oh, thank you for your time, your expertise, and your presence, man. I like to give everybody their flowers. Let you know you appreciate it, man. Appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, Devin.
You too.
All right, that was Devin Jackson of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Like I said, an amazing guy, an amazing writer, an amazing football mind. There's some rare people out there that I can just listen talk about football all day, and he's one of those guys. But yeah, a lot to take in. A lot to take in. I think that this defense is going to be great. That's why I asked that last question. I think this could be a very, very good defense. Um, I want to pose that question to you as well. Do you think this defense could be better than the 2024 defense?
Man, well, Devin gave a lot of interesting facts, and I think by my face, so the 2026 defense that we have now, even though they haven't played a game yet, they have the talent. They have the talent, but what they lack from the 2024 season is the depth, man. The depth is
Yeah,
what kept us afloat. When one person like went down, we could fill people in, and there wasn't a drop off in talent. You got to think from the cornerback position. We had Darius Slay, and he went out a couple times holding his back every time. It was always the same arm, same back, every time. He left. We had Isaiah Rodgers, and he didn't miss a beat. The safety position. If one of those guys did go out, we did have Sidney Brown, which he kind of plays a little bit too fast, but we had what's the other gent's name? I see his face. Light skinned dude, curly hair. He got released last season. On the opposite side, we had Eli Ricks, who had a lot of potential, even though he wasn't really he never really played. The linebacker core, we had Zach Bond, we had N'Kobe Dean starting, we had Orrin Burks, who kind of stepped into his spot when he was gone. On that defensive line, we had the rotation of Carter, Davis, Brandon Graham could even play at nose. We had Merle Jomo. We had a Milton Williams. We had so much depth that I wouldn't worry about it. You got to think about what we have now. If Quinyon Mitchell or Tariq Woolen goes up, we do have Jonathan Jones. Jonathan Jones, I like Jonathan Jones. He's a little bit older. He's still got the
I
speed.
forgot
He
I
got
even
the
had
20.
him.
Yeah, he's still on there. But then
Yeah,
there was one game last year. There was one game when Quinyon Mitchell went down and Adoree Jackson went down. And our backups are Keely Ringo, whose ass should never see the field, and
yeah, man.
Jacorian Bennett. And we got picked apart. I believe we ended up, I don't remember what game it was, but we ended up winning that game. So depth is important. And the reason why I think the 2024 defense is better than this 2026 defense, not better since they haven't played yet. The 2026 had the ceiling to reach. The 2024 team was that ceiling. They had people who had been in those positions before. You had veterans. You had savvy guys who knew what they were playing for. They were playing. People knew that I'm on my way out. I got to get this ring. Slay knew he was on his way out. Brandon Graham knew he was on his way out. And Josh Sweat knew that he wasn't getting paid and he was leaving. So these guys knew what they had to play for. In regards to the edge position, right now the edge room is a little bit better because Brandon Graham was on the older side, but he could still do what he do. When healthy, Josh Sweat was a good game disruptor. We still got Nolan Smith. Um, Nolan Smith was kind of a question mark going into that season, and we still got Jay Hunt. So in a sense, dude, I'm gonna say the 2024 season. 2024
Yeah,
season definitely.
I think this is going to be a fun season. Like Eagles Dynasty said, it is a high bar, but you got to see what happens with this 2026 team. Obviously, if they go out there and break records and do all this crazy stuff, then they'll prove it themselves. But I'm excited. I'm excited that we even have the opportunity to really ask that question. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm hyped to see what this team is going to be. I think that we have the potential to be better. I think we have the potential to be incredible. We could break records. Who knows? This defense is really, really good, but we could suck. I've
So
sat here and said it before that we are going to be great, and we could suck. So it is what it is. I mean, we'll see what happens. I like this team, but I'm not going to jump off of a cliff just yet. Just yet. Give me like a couple
well,
more
man,
weeks, maybe
if
by
we had
August.
And we end up being ass, bro. I'm gonna be so upset. Dude,
Yeah,
I'd be so
I'll be
heartbroken,
disappointed.
dude. But
I'll be
I think we're gonna
disappointed.
be all right. If we can solidify that safety spot, just solidify the safety
Yeah.
spot. I know Devin said they're more of a having one strong guy and somebody to fill the back. But I think we had two guys that will make me feel more comfortable. So hopefully we can do that. Hopefully somebody emerges, and hopefully we can have a run back of 2024. But we shall
I'm
see.
hoping that I'm hoping it's that kid Cole. I do like Cole, so I was kind of hoping he would give me a little bit more of a glowing review of him, but I still like him as well. So we'll see what happens there. But one thing that can derail a Super Bowl season, right, is injuries. And I made a video about this, and some people told me to stop trying to scare people. But I want to know because we're seeing a lot of people sitting out of camp because of shoulder injuries, because of this injury, because of that injury. I mean, just to name some of the bigger guys we're talking about Jalen Carter, Jahad Campbell, Makai Lemon, Jonathan Grenard, and Lane Johnson are just some of the bigger names that have missed extensive time during these camps so far. Does that worry you at all? Or is it too early to worry? Because I will admit I'm getting a little bit worried. I'm a little bit nervous that we're seeing all these injuries this early, especially some of these younger guys.
Man, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Mm-mm.
You gotta think, dude. Our every one of our top three picks have been out.
Mhm.
Makai Lemon's out with the hamstring. Eli Stowers has been out. We don't know exactly what that is. He had that sleeve on his arm, and then I just found out that Markel Bell has been out. Dude, time in this offense, right? Time off the field is everything. You're learning a new offense, you're learning a new system, and you coming in from college, and you guys are supposed to come in and make a big impact. Makai Lemon is
Exactly.
that guy. He is the wide receiver of the future behind Devontae Smith. Eli Stowart is the guy. He's the tight end behind Dallas Goedert when he leaves. Markel Bell, by all accounts, when Lane Johnson does retire, he's coming in and he's taking that spot. He needs these reps, and then you got to think about all like the veterans, like Grenard. I get that he came in with a shoulder injury. He said he didn't want stress. He wanted to be fresh for the season. Cool, I get that. Jalen Carter, I believe he's holding out because he wants to get a deal done. So not too worried about that. The Lane Johnson thing does bother me. It bothers me a lot because you got to think of the competition that we have going on. Everyone has good pass rushers, and he's there to solidify that side of the line. And if he goes down, we do got Fred Johnson, but he's not really Lane Johnson, dude. Like, so the injuries, I kind of blow things up. That's just who I am. If I see somebody gets injured, I'm just like, "Ah, damn, like why does this stuff keep happening?" So, is right now is it okay to be alarmed? Absolutely, absolutely. Mini camp is coming up in 6 weeks. Hopefully, these things kind of clear themselves out. But the injury bug is kind of what killed us last year. We had so many injuries to the point where Matt Pryor was freaking playing, and Matt Pryor was hot butter ass. And I don't want to see nothing like that happen again. So, is it okay to be worried about this stuff? Absolutely, but that's another feeling for later on down the line. We'll see how we're looking in 5 weeks. But am I worried right now? Just a tad bit. If I had to put on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably gonna go about a 4. I'm not as worried, but I am
I would
worried
say
for what
four
we
is
know.
fair.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say four is fair. I feel like five is like, okay, something's really wrong.
yeah.
Four is like, there might be something wrong. It might be, we're going to hold off and see. So I'll take four. I think four is fair. I mean, but you brought it up for the defense. You look at the depth on this offense, especially this offensive line. It's not really there. I mean, you really kind of have missed on a lot of these offensive linemen that you were hoping, you would draft and be good. Keegan is like, he disappeared. Tyler
He's
Steen is a
gone.
starter. That's good. But I mean, really, who do you have behind it? You like you said, Bell.
Miles
Bell is
Hinton.
always kind of a project. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hence I mean, you don't really have anybody. So it does worry me with the offensive line probably the most. Defensively, I think we're pretty deep
Yeah,
at most places. I think we can get by with like one or two, especially on the D line. I think if we're missing Jalen Carter for a game, I think we'll live. I don't think it's obviously not ideal, but I think we'll live. On the offensive line, I don't know. I get a little bit worried. And Lane Johnson is and has always been kind of the anchor for us. So it definitely worries me. Anytime he's hurt, I don't care if he's coughing and sick on the sideline, I'm going to get worried. So we'll see what
yeah.
happens. I'm hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. I want to ask also because when you look at kind of what the Eagles have done, right? I feel like the Eagles have gotten younger in some places. Like I feel like they've gotten ready for the future while still staying a good team. I don't think that they made any crazy moves that like went over the top. That's like, oh, picking this guy up or getting that guy is going to change everything. But I think that they're still a very good team and somewhat, addition by subtraction. But you look at the rest of the NFC East, they've made moves. There's some things that has happened around in the NFC East as a whole. Who do you think is like our biggest competition?
Biggest competition. I'm gonna just take a step back because I don't want nobody to bite my head off. I'm gonna have to say Dallas, dude. I hate Dallas. Dallas sucks. Dallas can kiss my ass. But Dallas is the only competition we have within the league. They're the only team that we've consistently split with. We beat the Giants 2 times in a year. We beat the Commanders 2 times in a year, but we always split with the Cowboys. And you got to think about what they've done in the draft. I think the Giants, they failed the draft. They had layups in so many places and didn't grab anybody. Washington, they old, man. They still old. I love Sonny
Yeah.
Styles. I love Sonny Styles. It sucks that he had to go there because they're not gonna be able to do anything. He's gonna be cool on the back end, but everybody else is old and slow and tired. I like Tons. I do love Larry Tunsil. Larry Tunsil's that guy. But then you got to think about what the Giants, excuse me, what the Cowboys have done, right? They still have Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott gets on my nerves. He is not a bad quarterback. I got to give it to him. He's not a bad quarterback. He's a hole, and he's our opposition, but he's not a bad quarterback. You got CeeDee Lamb over there. Last year's a little bit butterfingery, but he's tried and true. Pickens signed his franchise tag, so he's gonna be there. And then the defense has gotten better. They signed what's boy's name? They got Quinnen Williams on the line from that trade, so that solidified the defensive line. And then they got I can't what's the boy's name? Safety, best safety, Caleb Downs. They got
Oh
Caleb
yeah,
Downs.
yeah.
When they got
That
Caleb
was
Downs, man, that pissed me off. Caleb Downs is a lifetime talent, and that kind of solidified that safety spot. Now the only weakness that I believe that Dallas does have is those corners on the end. Those corners are ass, so that's where we can kind of exploit that. But when it comes to I think we still beat Dallas. We either the one or the two, even though we play them on Thanksgiving. Don't ring that bell in, ding ding. But I do think that Dallas is going to give us the hardest time within our division. Not too worried about the Giants. They did nothing, and they got rid of Dexter Lawrence. The only reason why they beat us last year is because we showed up unprepared. We really just came up unprepared. They punched us in the mouth. We never recovered. Washington, not too worried about them. We lost because we sat the starters and we had Keely Ringo out there looking at ghosts and stuff. So
yeah, that was
only concern
crazy.
our only concern we really have is Dallas, and I'm pretty sure we could
I
we could beat them. Yeah.
I think Dallas will be interesting. I don't know if their defense will be fixed inside. I know getting Christian Parker, they think that that's like their savior, and he's going to turn their defense
Oh, that
around
hurt
so
me.
quick. Their
Hurt me
defense
so
is
bad.
bad. Like their defense is bad, down from like personnel to how it was coached last year. It was really bad. So I don't think that a draft and a coach changes everything overnight. I think they'll be improved, which may help them, and that we'll see what happens there. I mean, I will give the Giants this because I see somebody in there mad about the Giants take. I will give the Giants this. They got one of the better coaches that was available, if not the best coach that was available. They picked up Isaiah Likely. I'll give them that. At Averill Reese, I think that's who they picked up, right? They picked up Averill Reese. They should have took Sonny Downs, but they didn't draft horribly. I won't say that it was the worst draft ever. They definitely could have taken some better players, but it wasn't the
Yeah.
worst draft ever. You look at Jackson Dart; if he can stay healthy, I'll say that there's hope for the Giants. I will say that I personally think it's the Commanders, excuse me, simply because of Jaden Daniels. That's really it. I think that Jaden Daniels is one of them ones. I think he has more help at that, on offense right now. The defense should be a little bit better. So I think that the Commanders last year, they probably would have made the playoffs with Jaden Daniels healthy. And that team was really not that good when he went down. So yeah, it shows how important he actually is. But I think he is that good. I think, it
He'll
is
never
what
be
it
no
is.
Jaden Daniels. There's no
Yeah,
slander.
I hate the
There's no Jaden
Commanders, but
Daniels.
yeah,
We like
I,
Jaden
I gotta,
Daniels.
I gotta, yeah, I gotta show love to Jaden Daniels, right? I think he's that good that he can definitely carry that team to a playoff spot, and I think he's good enough to beat us. I think that he can figure out ways because when you play a team like us, when you play any team that has a really good defense, it's not about what you do well; it's about figuring out what's going to work. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily, well, we just run the Giants split with you guys with less talent. Now we got now. You guys aren't good. I was
Bro,
being nice. I was trying to be nice, but you guys are not good. Jackson Dart doesn't know how to keep his head out of
dude,
a brick window
if you
or
don't
whatever you want to
stop
call it. That
concussions,
boy
his career
is
will be cut short.
if they stay healthy, Cam Scatterable might still drink himself out of the league, but Jackson Dart might be good if he can stay healthy. But I highly doubt that he stays healthy. That's
No,
all I'm gonna say.
Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is one of them
I
ones,
like
dude. Like
yeah.
when they drafted Malik Neighbors, I was like, dang. And I think they just got cat from I'm names are killing me. They just got the wide
Likely.
receiver from wide receiver from the Falcons.
Oh damn. Not
2 years.
Mooney. Did they get Darnell Mooney?
Yeah,
Who
Mooney.
was it?
Mooney.
Was it
That's it.
Darnell Mooney?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mooney doesn't scare me. It is what it is. You guys got Theo Johnson. I just had Theo Johnson on our show, so he said he hated Eagles
Yeah.
fans, so it screw y'all for life, man. Y'all turned my Penn State guy against me, so it screw y'all for life. I really don't think that they're going to be good. I think they have potential. I think there should be hope in New York, but all this, we might win the division or we're better than you now. It makes zero sense.
No.
Cowboys, I give them some credit. They're another team. I think that they should have hope, especially with their defense getting better. But Dak Prescott's a year older. Your offensive line didn't get any better. Your wide receivers are good. Your offense was number one last year just due to volume. I'm not really that worried about the Cowboys. They're gonna find a way to screw themselves. Washington, I feel like Jaden Daniels is good enough to just carry them. That's really that's the only argument I got for him. That's it. That's all I got.
As long as he stays healthy. As long as he stays
He
healthy.
said
But
just look at our coaching staff. Most of them are former head coaches, and now they're coordinators under Harbaugh. I understand we division rivals, but come on, guys. What does that mean? Like that doesn't make your players any better. Like I
hey,
get it. Coaching is important, but
well, you can scheme up everything, but if your players are hot buttered ass, then they hot buttered ass, man. Like, and I'm
y'all
not
said the
saying your
same
team.
thing.
Hey,
Go ahead.
bro,
I'm
like,
sorry.
hey, bro,
They
like,
said the same thing when they had Dabble. They said the same thing when they got Dabble. Like what? Look where that brought you. I'm not impressed. Go do something and then we'll talk. Go stay healthy for 16 games and then we'll talk. But yeah, I'm gonna say the Commanders. I was gonna give more love to the Giants, but now he ruined it. He ruined it. So
hey, but
go
thank you, D.
Commanders. If anybody's
Yeah, I
gonna try and
appreciate
come and take our crown, it's the
D. I appreciate
Commanders.
you riding for your team, bro. Or
Yeah,
Madden.
it's
I don't
cute.
know. D is a man and a woman's name, so I'm not being disrespectful, but you got to ride for your team. I ride for my
I
team.
like
I get a bad take and I'll spin it. I'll spin it like a pizza on my finger,
facts.
bro. Like so, I
Facts.
get it. I understand.
I like what the Giants did. Like I said, with the coaching staff, I can't take away that they picked up some good guys. I said that. Those words came out of my mouth, Shy.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, you got to prove it. You got to go out there and do something. To say, well, we did this last year, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. That doesn't matter.
No matter. It's gone
It's
now.
proven. It's proven. So I'm excited about this team. I know you had some topics you wanted to bring up, so I want to give you the floor as well. I don't want to hog up all the time.
Hey, much appreciated. So I got a little spill for you. Something going on social media, right? Once again it's the off season, not a lot going on. So I saw a tweet it was an ignorant tweet, by the way. It was like, if the Eagles are looking to upgrade at quarterback, could they
Oh
be looking
God.
at Lamar Jackson? What do you take? I'm gonna let you go first. What do you take on the Eagles taking in Lamar Jackson
Yeah, and
over Jalen
I
Hurts?
don't think that would ever happen. I think that Lamar Jackson. I'll start it like this. Lamar Jackson is one of them ones. I think 20 years from now we'll appreciate more so of what he's done than even we do now. I don't think that he's fully appreciated yet. But um, would I love to have Lamar Jackson on this team? For sure. We had the opportunity, right? We had the opportunity when he was drafted. We gave up our spot. But at the point that we are as a team, financially it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Team wise, it doesn't make sense. Like it just doesn't make sense. It's a cool thought, and I hope whoever writes those articles gets the clicks that they're looking for. But it makes no sense. It never would make any sense. And I try to sometimes go against what you'll say, but I have a feeling You know what I'm saying? That we're going to agree on this, or at least I hope that my feeling is right. But yeah, I don't think that there's one Eagles fan, one sane Eagles fan that would do what it would most likely take to give up Jalen Hurts to get Lamar Jackson. Even if you don't want Jalen Hurts and you want Lamar Jackson, if you want this team to be successful, you would not do what it would take to, like Eagles Dynasty said, it doesn't make sense for the
Absolutely.
Eagles or
Don't make no
Ravens.
sense.
You wouldn't want to do what it would take for it to make sense for the Ravens, right? So, in my opinion, that's a non-starter. I think it's like we said earlier, right? There's no drama with AJ Brown, right? So they got to come up with something, and I think that that's just the next Chat GPT thing that they came up with.
Like it's just wild. Like Jalen Hurts has a no trade clause in his contract.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is they're currently working on another contract. Why would you even do that? Jalen Hurts was made for this new offense. Lamar Jackson was made for his offense. And our
Mm-hmm.
roster on paper compared to the Ravens, offensive wise, our roster, I believe our roster is better than theirs. So why would doesn't really make sense. I ain't gonna take nothing away from Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, like you said, is one of the ones. He's one of the ones. I'm not sure if he's. I hope that in our lifetime, if it's not against us, I hope that he wins one. But he just
Yeah,
can't.
right.
He just can't get. He lives in the second round of the playoffs, dude. He just, and that's not included if he's a wild card. He just can't get over the hump. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the team, but we got a guy in Jalen Hurts who's proven it time and time again. We've made the playoffs every year that he's been in. Lamar Jackson just missed it last year, just due to injuries. Jalen Hurts
Yeah.
has injuries too, but it's not as frequent as Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson has lost more games. I saw a stat. I saw a stat. Lamar Jackson has lost more games than Jalen Hurts has lost more games. Now I'm not sure how true that is, but I saw that. But I saw it online. So I would never, I would never give up a talent like Jalen Hurts for Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar. I love everything about his game. I like the grit. I love the toughness. I love that he's unapologetically himself and he plays that way. But I would never give up or trade Jalen Hurts for a Lamar Jackson.
And to be fair, I don't think any Ravens fan would say they would want to give up a Lamar Jackson for a Jalen Hurts. And that's not a slight to either quarterback, realistically. I don't think that's talking junk about either quarterback. I think both teams are very happy with their history making quarterback. I think they're okay with that. Right. I think we both lucked out. So
Yeah. So let me pose another question for you, and I know you can answer this one because I know you're an
for sure.
analytics guy, right? All right. So based on both their careers up until this point, the things that they've accomplished, Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP, made the not the Super Bowl, he can't sniff that. Made the playoffs multiple times. Jalen Hurts made the Super Bowl twice. Super Bowl MVP has made the playoffs every year since he's been in the league. Based on what they've done right now, who has the higher trajectory to make it to the Hall of Fame? And when we're talking Hall of Fame, we're talking either first or second ballot, not third. Now we'll go first ballot.
First ballot, I would say
Mm-hmm.
Lamar.
Lamar.
Unfortunately, Lamar. Yeah, just because to go first ballot, it takes more than just the stats. Like the numbers, I mean, obviously matter, right? But to go first ballot, you got to be like universally loved. You got to be like, just you can't talk about the game without talking about that player. And as much as I love Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson has done way more as far as transcending the game than Jalen Hurts has. Jalen Hurts has transcended what is a team sport into like the ultimate. Like he's the ultimate team player. He's the ultimate leader. He's the ultimate, whatever. But he also is not really a talker. He's not one of those guys that's out there on social media. He's not one of those guys that's in the pop culture and stuff like that. Lamar Jackson is. So looking 10, 15 years from now, which is when I'm assuming they'll both be going, I assume that the writers of this day will remember Lamar Jackson a little bit better than they will a Jalen Hurts just because of the off the field stuff. But that's how it works, unfortunately. Unless Jalen Hurts goes out there and wins another Super Bowl and wins the MVP, then it's undeniable. But right now, yes, winning the Super Bowl, going to the Super Bowl is beautiful for the team. But individually, you look at what Lamar has done to the game. I mean, there wasn't you could say that Mike Vick was like him. You could say Randall Cunningham was like him, but they really weren't. They really weren't. Nobody has done what Lamar has done as an individual player. That's just my opinion, I guess. If you if everything stopped right now, I think that Lamar Jackson is still in the Hall of Fame. If everything stopped right now, it would be a very good conversation about Jalen Hurts. I think that's the fairest way to say it.
I gotta argue the opposite way, man. I gotta argue the opposite way. I say it like this here, right? You go to the barbershop, right? You go to the barbershop, you sitting with an older gentleman cutting your hair. He's not gonna talk about, hey, who had the best regular season. They're gonna talk about who won the Super Bowl, who got the rings, who was the
True.
best player who the best player in the greatest game and had the best performance. And that's gonna be Jalen Hurts. Them things are timeless. I'm not taking nothing from Lamar Jackson. That 2019 season was crazy. But how did that end?
I mean, but he
Don't say
had two
MVP.
MVP.
Don't say
My
MVP.
thing is,
It ended
my
with
thing
a
is.
loss.
So, do you think Eli
With a
Manning is a
loss.
first ballot Hall of Famer?
With a loss.
Or do you think Eli Manning is a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Eli Manning?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I see. I don't. I don't. I think he is. I think he's borderline. I think he's borderline. I think that winning a Super Bowl, as much as we want to give Jalen Hurts the credit that he deserves, he was the Super Bowl MVP. It is a team sport. It is a team get thing to do. You need to have a great defense. You need to have a great offense. It needs to clash, or at least very complementary. I'm not hating on Jalen Hurts at all. I'm not at all. I love Jalen Hurts. But when you just look at his numbers, which a lot of people will, and you look at the highlights and what changed because of Jalen Hurts, it's not the type of impact that Lamar Jackson has had. Like, I mean, it's a good conversation. It's tough. It's tough because Jalen Hurts has had the highest selling jersey for a long time. I know he is a lot of people's role model. So it's hard to say that he just doesn't have that social media or that presence as far as pop culture, but I don't
I
know.
just don't.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
just
want
think that Lamar is like more when you think of football, you think of guys like Lamar Jackson, like Josh Allen. Not saying that they're Josh Allen's going to go to the Hall of Fame, but I think that Lamar Jackson just changed the game. I really do. I don't think you've ever seen a player like him.
My
But
reason.
it's a good question. The more that I say it in my head and say it out loud, the more I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
I did my research on this. We can go on it if you want. I'm looking at kayak baseman. Just look at the stats. First one in the Hall of Fame, dude. Like their career trajectory is different. First of all, Lamar Jackson is 29. Jalen Hurts is 27. Arguably, he has more time to prove himself. The records in the
Yeah, for
playoffs, I
sure.
believe the Eagles are 6-4. The Ravens are 3-5. Um, Jalen Hurts led Lamar Jackson in passing besides 1 year. I believe that was 2024. Yeah, he leads them in rushing. I give him that. Lamar Jackson leads in rushing. But what he also leads in is interceptions and losses in the playoffs. You take that and couple that the end together, Jalen Hurts is the superior player, dude. And that's just numbers. Just like my man said, look at the stats. If you go by stats, overall, Jalen Hurts' body of work, his career, and his stats puts him in a higher position than Lamar Jackson. Besides the rushing,
Oh,
Lamar Jackson got the rushing.
I
He be
gotta see
scrambling.
that because I gotta see the.
Hey man, I was looking.
I
I think I'm close. I looked it up earlier because I was like, ain't no way. They also take into
see
account
because
playoff stats. Yep, indeed
what
they
I'm
do.
looking at is what I'm looking at is hold on, let's just change up. All right, what I'm looking at is Lamar Jackson. Damn, come on, stop giving me all these freaking pop ups. Lamar Jackson has 22,000 yards, 22,608 yards on 300 more attempts. So let me go to just averages because I mean it's right there. 194.9 yards per game for Lamar Jackson, 192.4 yards per game for Jalen Hurts, 187 more touchdowns. I mean 187 touchdowns, 56 interceptions to 110 touchdowns and 45 interceptions. 102.2 rating for Lamar, 94.4 rating for Jalen, 6.5 touchdown percentage to a 1.9 percent interception, 4.6 for Jalen Hurts. It's close. It's
It is.
close. It's close.
Like the career, I think the rushing touchdown.
It's
I think Jalen
definitely
got like
close.
60. I think Jalen
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Jalen about 60, and I think like Lamar Keys like 30. So they're
The one
comparable. But
The one thing I will say that Jalen Hurts probably has in his favor is that they had to change the game for him. Like they're actively trying to change the game for him. I should say with the tush push stuff.
yeah,
Usually when that happens, people kind of bring that up and they're like,
yeah,
"Oh, he's got to be a Hall of Famer." They changed the game for him. But like, I don't think that either player are bad or it's a slight on any player. I just think that if everything stopped right now, if all ended right now, I think that Lamar's career would be remembered more than Jalen's one Super Bowl. But if he wins another Super Bowl, wins an MVP. I mean, it'll be undeniable at that point. It's just Lamar's had a very special career. It just sucks that I feel like his team lets him down every playoffs. I don't
every
really put it
time.
100% on him. I feel so bad for him. That's like the one quarterback that I'll have his back. Joey B, he does dumb stuff, and I feel bad for him too because his defense sucks. But I don't know, man. Lamar's like right there, and then Mark Andrews drops the ball, or Isaiah Likely can't step in bounds. It's like, bro, you just can't catch a break, dude. You really
Yeah,
can't.
crazy, man. Yeah, yeah. And I like Lamar, but my answer, I'm no biases aside. My answer is kind of I'm going Jalen Hurts. Now, if Lamar Jackson
I
happens to
respect
make
it.
it,
I respect it.
if he makes it to a Super Bowl and he don't win, then I think that kind of, man, man, that
It's
kind of,
hard for me to like. I think you have to at least make one. If you're an elite quarterback, you have to at least make one. Like I think Joe Burrow making one will probably cement him in the like he'll probably make the Hall of Fame. As long as he stays healthy for like 5 or 6 more years, he'll most likely make the Hall of Fame. Just eat off of the strength of that. They'll
they be
forever
effing him
talk
up.
about that one run.
I be feeling
It's
so
crazy,
bad.
but
I be feeling so
it's
bad for
saying
Joey B. They be effing him up, bro.
they
they be.
do, bro.
I remember one
They
time he
do.
got
Like,
sacked. He looked up like, "Yo," and the guard was like, "Oh my God, I was there
where
too."
y'all at? Where y'all at, bro? And people, and I know a lot of Eagles fans will bring him up and be like, nobody gives him flack. It's tough too, man. Like you watch those games, bro. What is he gonna do? He'll play defense. Like that defense is terrible, bro.
Yeah,
Like really, really bad. I don't know. I'll never give Dak Prescott any slack, but it is what it is. So I want to ask you a question before we get out of here,
hmm
pertaining to what you said, and we talked about it earlier, and I want to ask it because I want to get the chat's thoughts as well. Would you rather, and I know we kind of spoke about it, but we'll go a little bit more in depth now. Would you rather Jalen Hurts win an MVP or win another Super Bowl at this point in his career before he leaves the Eagles?
Super Bowl, Super Bowl, absolutely. Because if he gets a Super Bowl, he's gonna get us another Super Bowl MVP. So then you get a two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time Super Bowl MVP. Before we go right now, and it's just not an individual accolade too. The team gets something also. So he's not just getting the ring. Those
Yeah.
guys putting in those work and they're working hard. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't. He can get it. He could get an MVP, which is cool. You get the nice little trophy, but then you're not playing football in February. You at home, bro. Like I
Yeah.
beat my team on the field, bro. There was no greater feeling in this world than winning the Super Bowl. And in my lifetime, we won two, dude. It's something about it, dude.
It's crazy to say that. It's crazy to say that. It really
Why not
is.
both? This dude's a clown.
Yeah.
God damn
The
it.
words and soccer
I
players
love
right
it.
now.
I love it.
Yeah, I said behind the scenes to be fully, transparent that there is a part of me that would love for him to get us MVP just to shut people up.
He was
Like the
close.
team part, yeah, the team part of me is like, obviously I want a Super Bowl, but that one part of me that's just like, oh my God, I'm so tired of hearing people talk about Jalen Hurts. I would love for him to just get a MVP. And like you said, he was right there. He was right there. If he would have played those last 2 games, he most likely gets it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks. Everybody's saying Super Bowl. I'm glad. I'm glad we got that type of chat. All right. I'm glad we have that type of chat. We don't have a salty chat that's like, no, the MVP, screw that. We're going to make them pay. Shout out to y'all, man. We got 98 people in the chat between all the channels. So shout out everybody in here, man. That's
Thank
what's
you.
up.
We
That's really
appreciate y'all.
cool. Heck yeah, man. But
Appreciate
shout out to Devin Jackson as well. That was always a good time.
Devin,
We'll
man.
have him on here more often for sure. My
I'll
dogs are
clap for
going crazy
Devin.
now. You hear my dogs back there? You hear my dogs?
Yeah, I hear
Yeah, I was
him.
about to say, hey, I was about, you can't hear them. They loud as a. Yeah, they be wilding out. But no, I appreciate him so much. He's a wealth of. Is that your first time like hearing him or meeting him or anything?
That's my first time actually. I've read his work. That's my first time actually hearing him.
Oh, okay, good, good.
Um, and speaking with him, dude, very intelligent guy. And the way he breaks things down, I can tell why the Inquirer is happy to have him. So if he ever want to come
Yeah,
back,
he's awesome.
he has more than my
Oh, he'll
blessing,
be
dude. I
back.
could. It's like talking. It was kind of like talking to like a football Morgan Freeman. Like I could just be like, dang, I could just sit here, pick your brain all day. Like the dude knows what he's talking about. Very knowledgeable. So great experience, and I
Yeah,
appreciate
he's
him coming
awesome.
on the show.
I met him out at the Senior Bowl, and the first time I met him, me and him had like a full conversation about football. I was like, damn, dude. I was like, damn, I pride myself thinking I know a little I know a little ball, right? But
Yeah.
you listen to some guys and it's like, damn, bro, okay, like how do you remember all this? To be fully honest, I called him right before I went on with Theo, and I was like, "Bro, what do you know? Like, give me some, give me some
Give
insight
me
on
something.
what I could bring up when I'm talking to Theo." And he did. He was like, "Oh yeah, bang bang bang." I'm like, "I love you, man. I freaking love you." So we'll definitely have him back on. I always tell him like 15, 20 minutes. It always ends up being way longer. It is what
No,
I think he's
yeah,
used to it by now with me. Yeah, he just understands. It's like, all right, add 10 minutes.
yeah,
It's like when a woman tells you like they're getting ready. You got to add like an hour. Right? It is what it
man.
is. But is there anything else you want to say to these beautiful people before we get out of here, brother?
The same thing I say every week. Thank y'all for taking your time and coming out and sitting with us for an hour. It don't feel like an hour, but you could be anywhere, and you
Never
chose to be
does.
here with us. So once again, giving y'all flowers. Thank you. Thank you for supporting. And keep on supporting. We're gonna keep on getting better every single week. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Maybe I'll try and drag Devin back on here
Whoa,
next
whoa,
week.
whoa.
We'll
One more
see what
thing.
happens.
One more thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
To everybody in the chat, trying to grow out the socials. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Thread, X, all on Midnight Green Mafia. Follow Philly the podcast everywhere. We're trying to grow everything out. We also have a YouTube for the podcast coming out soon. We've been busy. We've
It's
been
out
busy.
right now, actually.
Oh, it's
It's
out right
right
now.
now.
Okay.
If you just search Breaking Philly, it's live right now as well. So
Yeah, I
definitely
gotta
check
start
that
working
out.
on the I gotta start working on Instagram. That's my fault,
Oh, we gonna get there. We
but
gonna
we gonna
get
get
there.
there. So
Oh, I want to
I
show
saw
this
that.
off. I want to
I
show
saw that.
this off.
I was jealous, man.
My my wife probably mad at I'm even touching it, but yeah, little Randall Cunningham,
Randall
little
Cunningham.
Randall.
That is a
So funny
Randall.
story. Funny
And I
story. We
was like,
won.
hey, yo, I saw it on the stream. I was like, man, I'm here, man.
But funny story. We actually won the AJ Brown. We pulled the AJ Brown and we won that one. And
Yeah, I remember. So that's
the
a win and a
my
loss.
homie, yeah, my homie pulled that one, and I called him as soon as he won it, and I was like, "Listen, bro, let's just trade, please." The AJ Brown one was a little bit more expensive, but I was like, "Bro, you could keep that. I don't even care. I don't want AJ in my house. I need my guy. I need my guy Randall. I need my guy Randall." So yeah, that was hype. And shout out to you for coming through, man. I appreciate that so much.
Man, I would have did more, but I was driving. Can't drive and crash, man. But I
Nah, I
appreciate
feel
I
you,
appreciate
dog.
the love when I was stationary. It's a good time. Anybody looking for anything in regards to sports, sports materials, memorabilia, great place. Great place.
Yeah, you see that.
I wish I could have won on some of those breaks. He got
Mm,
the signed ball.
mm,
I did get this Devontae. I told y'all last week this Devontae Smith signed mini
fire.
helmet. So yeah, man. Y'all need anything?
Slide through, baby.
Castro, hook it up. Come through, break for break.
I'm the plug, baby. I'm the. I'm just kidding. But I appreciate everybody, man. This is always a good time. Always fun chopping it up with my guy. I think I am gonna see who we can get on next week. That was fun having them in third person. Just kind of breaking up the show. That was good. That was cool.
Hey, I'm down for it.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Y'all have a great Tuesday night. Be sure to follow like all that good stuff, man. Y'all know what to do. But yeah, flag was fly. We out of here.
All day.
Peace.
Later. Deuce.